South Africa presented nothing short of a brilliant forensic case against Israel, accusing them of genocide. The case was so well detailed and presented, the expectation is that Israel will lose their case against South Africa in The Hague, and provisional orders will be granted by the court to end the wholesale slaughter of civilians in Gaza. Immediately after Israel presented its case, which did nothing more than reiterate their right to self defense, there was an attack on Yemen by the US and British forces. The attack appeared to be a show of defiance against the ICJ ruling, which I'd like to point out has yet to be rendered. Of course, they're not saying that. They're claiming they are defending global shipping, even though they are very much doing the opposite with their so-called coalition in the Red Sea. But it's being read as a shot across the bow of anyone who dares to take heed or any notice of the ICJ's anticipated ruling. But the United States isn't stupid enough to overtly come out and say they'll just ignore the judicial ruling. But unfortunately for them, there is someone who is. Benjamin Netanyahu didn't waste any time leveraging the media to say the quiet part out loud. Nothing quite says we've already lost than that, does it? That should serve to harden the resolve of the court judges, but of course they'll have to pretend they didn't hear anything. Check it out.
אנחנו מציינים היום 100 ימים למלחמה, 100 ימים ליום הנורא שבו נטבחו ונחטפו אזרחינו. אנחנו ממשיכים במלחמה עד הסוף. עד לניצחון המוחלט, עד שנשיג את כל יעדינו. חיסול החמאס, השבת כל חטופינו, והבטחה שעזה לעולם לא תהווה עוד איום על ישראל. אנחנו נחזיר את הביטחון גם לדרום וגם לצפון. אף אחד לא יעצור אותנו. לא האג, לא ציר הרשע ולא אף אחד אחר. ההתנפלות הצבועה בהאג על מדינת היהודים שקמה מאפר השואה, בשליחות אלה שבאו לבצע ביהודים שואה נוספת, ההתנפלות הזאת היא שפל מוסרי בתולדות האומות. מדינת ישראל, צה"ל וכוחות הביטחון שלנו נלחמים מלחמה מוסרית וצודקת מאין כמוה, נגד מפלצות החמאס, נגד הנאצים החדשים. מסע ההכפשה הבינלאומי הזה, אני מבטיח לכם, לא ירפא את ידינו, ולא יחליש את נחישותנו להילחם עד הסוף. כי משהו השתנה בתולדות המאה.
Absolutely insane. Nobody will stop us, not even The Hague. Well, nothing quite says we're a law-abiding, non-genocidal state with the most moral army in the world like saying screw the law, but that is the reality we live in today. 153 member states are signatory to this genocide convention and have a responsibility under that convention to uphold whatever ruling the International Court of Justice decides. 57 of those are members of the OIC, or the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. Those of you thinking the United States is the undefeatable superpower it was in the 90s had better take a closer look at the rest of the world. No doubt, the United States is a force to be reckoned with, but they are no longer the only ones. From a strictly military point of view, it is highly unlikely the United States could stand toe-to-toe with even Iran on their own turf, let alone Russia or China. The only real ground forces we have on the ready are the Marines and Special Forces. It would take at least 8 months to a year to train and mobilize the regular army, and even then, how the hell are we supposed to land them without getting half of them killed in the ships or AAVs on arrival? What blows me away is the United States and every Arab nation knows this weakness, and yet the United States just doubled down when they unconstitutionally took the fight to Yemen. Every other signatory should, in theory, seek to enforce the ruling, and they do have the military power to do it, suggesting the global conflict is more and more likely. And for what? Western powers refusing to hold Israel to account for committing genocide? The United States chose to defend Israel's murder rampage and place them on a pillar beyond all reproach. Such is the danger of inherent exceptions being made for any nation, like Israel has made for itself. Germany now seems set on implicating themselves as well, once more seemingly choosing the wrong side of history. For some reason, they think backing Israel, the Jewish state, given their history with the Jewish people, is what they have to do now. To the German people and anyone else that needs to hear this, we are not tainted by the sins of the past as long as we learn from them. For many people, it was difficult to watch Netanyahu take the moral high ground with Nazi references against Hamas and self righteous claims of morality when so many civilians lie dead and are being killed on a daily basis by Israeli forces. While many Americans are suffering from the last 3 years of what is now generational inflation, Congress has approved another $14 billion for the defense of Israel, which doesn't seem like much compared to the $100 billion spent on Ukraine that cost 500,000 Ukrainian soldiers their lives. But keep in mind, Israel is nearly solely supported by the American taxpayer. We have given them over 250 billion of your parents' and grandparents' tax dollars already, and those dollar figures do not consider the armaments that are being launched from our own platforms. The question has to be asked, what does the United States get for all that taxpayer money? The answer to that question is absolutely nothing. That's right, nothing. The lion's share of their industry is weapons development and manufacturing for the United States military industrial complex that you are paying for in two ways. First, you are financing Israel's development of these weapons systems. Then you turn around and you buy the weapons you paid to develop. Welcome to the real world, friends. The factual truth is that Israel has never been able to stand on their own 2 feet, and without the might of the United States, they would have no choice but to figure out how to get along with the rest of the world just like everybody else does.